guess we are ready to get started for the Ellettsville Redevelopment Committee
Recording in progress.
meeting for Monday, February 24th, 2025. We start with prayer?
Yep.
All right. Is this on? Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for these people who have gathered here. Thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who died for our sins. We ask that you help us be godly and graceful in our meetings and how we conduct our meetings with each other, that we continue to do the best for Ellettsville and the people we represent. Please help us all get home safely, and amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys may hit your mics there. Turn so the green light's on. Yeah.
Green is up.
Roll call.
Dr. Hash,
Present.
Tom Corman,
Present.
William Ellis, Trevor Sager,
Here.
Carl Thurman,
Here.
non-voting member Larry DeMoss.
Here.
Okay, and then we need the approval of minutes from January 7th, 2025 meeting. Anybody have anything we need to review, or any questions, concerns, discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 27th, 2025.
I second it.
Is this an open forum on the public hearing? Do we do that now, or do we do that after we move to adopt the changes or changes to the resolutions?
Well, I guess it's the board's pleasure because, by way of background, you'll recall that the Redevelopment Commission passed declaratory resolutions 2024-03 and 04 on December 23rd, and those resolutions established a West Side Economic Development Area and a Riverfront Economic Development Area. The Plan Commission approved the resolutions at its January meeting. At its second meeting in January, the Town Council approved the Plan Commission's order, and so now we're back to the Redevelopment Commission for a public hearing, which notice has been published in the paper notifying the public about this hearing. Baker Tilly prepared the tax impact statements, which were circulated to the board members and the overlapping taxing units, and Sam Schrader from Baker Tilly intended to be here to give a presentation and answer questions about the tax impact statements. Unfortunately, he is ill with whatever's going around, and so I believe the board needs to continue with the public hearing portion of this and take comments from the public. At the end of that, the board can go ahead and vote, or the board can continue this or table it to the next meeting to give Mr. Schrader an opportunity to come here and answer questions. So what I have prepared for the board, because by statute, the board is now to the point where it can approve, modify, or rescind the resolutions. And I will tell you that while working on the tax impact statement, we discovered that there were 10 parcels that were included in the west side TIF that shouldn't have been, and there were 5 parcels that were included in the riverfront district that should not have been. So I prepared a resolution to confirm or modify and confirm the previous resolutions, to take out the parcels that didn't belong there, and to also add some language under the project objectives to include language saying that tax increment financing should be used to fund educational programs or projects. So I guess my question to the board is, since this is the first time we've ever done this, is did my resolutions make sense? If not, I will need to make some revisions, but I mean, it's the board's pleasure. So you can discuss it and then ask for comments from the public, take a vote on it tonight if you want to, or you can move to continue the matter to the next hearing when Mr. Schrader can be here to answer questions.
So we already passed resolutions 03 and 04.
Pardon me?
We already passed the resolutions 03 and 04.
Yes, you passed 03 and 04, and now the purpose of these two resolutions is to modify and confirm those previous resolutions.
So it's the same, it's really the same thing with the modification of the space, the area you had to take out because
Yes.
it wasn't in the corporate district.
Omitting the parcels that were not in the corporate limits of the town that were inadvertently included as part of the original resolution, and to also add language about funding educational programs and projects.
Okay, which we wanted to add that. Does anybody have any questions about the changes of the, it's more the riverfront. Did the west side change also?
Yes, there were 10 in the west
On
side.
the west side was 10. Okay, how many was in the riverfront?
There were 5 that were, there was one that we were told we couldn't, that there was no parcel with that particular tax ID number. And so, or actually, I take it back. There were 11 in the west side and 4 in the riverfront that should not have been included because they were not within the corporate limits of the town. And the one parcel number we had, we couldn't find a corresponding parcel for that on Elevate. So I don't know how that ended up in there, but it's now out, so.
Yeah, so we're not adding to, we're just taking away.
Correct, you are
Excluding
not
the
adding.
educational stuff, which we
Yes.
wanted to add anyway. So I don't see a problem going ahead and to move to go ahead and approve the changes in 3 to 4, which make them parcels 20, or resolutions 2024-05 and 2024-06.
Yes, but you should ask for comments from the public.
For each one separately?
Yes, please.
Okay, very good. I guess we're open for comment or discussion or questions for either the, I guess we'll start with Resolution 2024-05 for the West Side Economic Development Area.
Yeah, that's going to be for both the meetings. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Sanders. I'm superintendent at Richland Bean Blossom Community School Corporation. And this is my assistant superintendent, Matt Irwin. We wanted to come and just really have a conversation with all of you tonight. We want you to know that we really appreciate the time that you guys put into this service and help to make our town a better place. As a school corporation, as a superintendent, has always been very important to me that we, as a school corporation, be excellent partners and understand that the town council and all the departments for the town of Ellettsville, as well as a school corporation that serves 96% of the area students, that we should work together as we move forward to try to better our community. And so Matt and I just wanted to come here tonight. We had a few questions, wanted to try to see if we could get some clarifications, and just making sure that we are doing what we can do to support you, but also as being good partners, vice versa. And so I'm going to let Matt share some thoughts right now, and then I'm going to jump in where I need to.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing the comment about the allowability for funding educational opportunities. I think from other conversations, I think the school's grounds are included in the TIF district. Is that correct? So one of the things that we were wondering about as well was just whether or not there'd be consideration for one of the things that we had in partnership with the Monroe County Development Commission was they fund a specific grant that funds educational opportunities with kids in our school corporations. in our school corporation, and that funds directly to STEAM and what we're doing with high reliability schools. And so we're hoping for your guys' consideration and thinking about funding a grant through the RDC to the school corporation to fund those types of specific opportunities, as well as just that continued consideration as far as if pass-through for AV or some of those things as we look at, we did a demographic study for the school corporation to look at what we should expect for kids to come to the school corporation over the next 10 years. And we're one of the few school corporations in the state of Indiana that is looking like we're going to grow enrollment over the next 10 years. And 70 to 80% of schools, according to the demographer, are going to lose kids over the next 10 years, and we are one of the ones that are going to gain. And so one of the things that we want to be mindful of is the impact of the TIF as far as how it relates to us being able to keep up with facilities, which we're doing a nice job of that now, but with the residents that would move into that area, of just making sure that none of the residential is included in it, which I don't believe is, but I think some of the pieces of like apartments or those types of complexes would be captured inside of the TIF, which does bring students to our area, which would increase the need to make sure that we have available space for those students. So just looking at the possibility of pass-through AV, or again, I liked hearing about the ability for you guys to work with us on possible projects that could be in partnership with the TIF as well. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
But do you have, first of all, we'd like to have an exchange, if not, if possible. I know in our board meetings we don't do that, but we just wanted to try to get some answers on whether or not the TIF is going to be residential or commercial, because it does make a big difference in terms of being able to prepare for the future growth. So we would just like to have a little bit of an exchange at some point, if that's possible. But otherwise, that's what we're here for tonight.
So my understanding is the TIF is more about, it's about the taxing for commercial and stuff, not for residential, correct?
Correct, unless it's commercial residential. So if it's 4 units or more for like an apartment complex, then it would be part of the TIF. So if it's just like a single-family dwelling, then no, it's not going to be.
Or duplexes?
Correct.
It has to have commercial space involved in it.
Yes,
Okay.
that's my understanding,
And
yes.
are we able to take grants? Because I thought at one point, a lot of the stuff with the TIF, the finances that we came through was for infrastructure, and there were limitations on what we can and can't contribute to. I love the idea. I don't know what the statute is on grants.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we have a TIF through Monroe County.
Okay.
And when that was formed, Dana Kerr, who's still on the board, was at that time, worked with them, and we were able to get a grant that we receive every year from the Monroe County TIF district.
Were there limitations on what that could be used for? Is that for Edgewood, the system, there's investment to do whatever they want with that TIF money?
Well, what we do is we report to them twice a year, and we share a budget of how we use those funds. And so it's really something that we report to them, and they really haven't, from the get-go, it's all about STEM, and that was the focus of it. But with that money, we've really have, and I could take an hour talking about this part, but we've taken that money that we've received for STEM, and we've expanded it so much to what we do today in providing not only STEM, and we call it STEAM, we had A for arts in there, but we also have grown that to our Innovative Learning Center, where we provide students with real-life, authentic experiences. We have student-run businesses coffee shop that is expected to have over $30,000 in sales this year. And other businesses, we have some projects coming up that we're working on now, where we're trying to partner with biomedical companies in order to provide training on our campus, so that the students, they have this training as juniors and seniors in high school, be able to graduate, with certifications that they could go right into the workforce and then maybe further their career, maybe in some kind of a health-related career, either becoming a nurse or a doctor, but we want to create a pipeline from high school to these positions at Boston Scientific, Cook Medical, IU Health, so we're working on a project now for that. So what I'm saying is that we've taken that grant that we get every year, and it's really set the foundation for so much more. And that's what we're looking hopefully to do with the Ellettsville TIF, is to put those dollars to good use. We value the tax dollars we receive, and every penny goes towards making sure that we're providing the highest quality education for our students, and really giving back to our community by having those students ready to go right into the workforce if necessary.
Well, that was one thing I was hoping Baker Tilly would be able to answer some questions this evening about how how the money might be channeled into the educational programs, because that is, of course, my interest, as well as the school corporation. So that might be something that we need to follow up with them on when they are here next time.
I do agree. Anything you've done with Bloomington. I was reading their agendas and minutes and things for the last several years, because our RDC it's new.
Right.
You know, we're in the process of making our districts so we can start looking at tax increment funding to try and get this area prime for more businesses and opportunity to come here. But to not do that with a very strong relationship with the school system, to me, makes no sense. As you know, I repeat a lot, I went to Edgewood, I drank the Kool-Aid. My kids are both seniors there. I love the school system. I think it's very niche in many ways. My kids' opportunity to go to a lot of different schools, but I made sure they went to Edgewood. And I think the idea of continuing to let people know how great the school is and to support it with a good community support system, I know for me, sitting where I am, you definitely have my support to work with you. But anything you can bring to us about other places that have done it, I don't know, of what they've done, what they've been able to do, I'd be open to that. I think the whole board would, because like I said, we love the community, we love the kids, and the community's not anything without the kids. So I don't think you're a hard sell to us wanting to make sure we have a strong relationship with the school system and help it any way we can within the parameters we have to work with that we still need to try and work through. But does anybody have any other comments? I would tell you, I don't see anybody from here that does not want to work with the school systems.
I have a comment. So, actually, a question. So, I'm interested in when we can interject this into the process, and if there's a drop dead date where we go past when we can initiate some kind of relationship or have a grant. Do we have to have all this up front before we go on, or is this something that we can do now or later? I mean, the timing of all this is of interest to me, because I assumed there would be support for the school from the board, and so I'm interested in the mechanics of it.
Is that a Baker Tilly question then?
Sounds like it.
Well,
I mean, is that a discussion with them that would probably be appropriate for that type of?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
but I thought I'd put the question out there because
No, I
I'm
think
interested.
we'd love to do it yesterday, as you know, but the idea of getting these districts started and going and getting the TIF going so we can actually figure out when, I think you said once we get things going, we know when monies will be coming in, we can start looking at doing bonds and things like that so we can actually start having cash to do these things with, other than the fact that we are committed to having that in part of our budget for what the TIF goes to. I think that's at least open-ended, but I'm with you. I would just assume have this going yesterday, so as soon as we can start getting some interest and getting some funds, then we can open some up. In the meantime, doesn't mean we can't have some type of draft work or generality on what the relationship might look like.
Certainly, we'll provide you the information that you requested, and just make sure you know I am a citizen of Ellettsville, and so I definitely want to see our town grow and I really want to support the town and trying to find the funds to build the infrastructure, to bring in the companies and businesses to help us to grow. So yes, I think we would be excellent partners in moving forward. And so whatever you guys need to do or whatever we need to do to provide you with information, please let us know.
Well, I know at the last meeting, there was some discussion of connecting with other existing TIFs and see what they had done and how their partnerships were working. I think if we can help by finding some of those school corporations that are working with districts that have TIFs, I think that would be a good step.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely.
And the whole thing on that too is just for you and for everybody else here is the whole idea for my thought is we want Ellettsville to grow, but with controlled growth that doesn't get rid of what makes Ellettsville Ellettsville.
Right.
I don't want the school system to become just another Bloomington or a Center Grove. I want it to still be Ellettsville. And same thing with the town. So I think that's something we always need to interject there too, is we want to help with this growth, but we want still to maintain the character of what makes Ellettsville unique. Yeah.
And Matt mentioned the demographic study that we've done. One of the worries that you have as a superintendent in terms of growth or lack of growth is trying to plan for that. There are so many variables that can go into whether a school corporation is growing or not. And sometimes it's hard to predict that. So there are school corporations who, anticipation of growth, have new buildings, and then that building doesn't become full. There are other situations where the school corporation doesn't react quickly enough, and suddenly you have an overcrowded situation. And so the demographic studies that we've have had done reflect a steady but slow growth. So it won't be such a growth that it would change our character as a school corporation. And it's a kind of a growth where it will be manageable for us to move forward.
One of the things that we're trying to do is that things continue to develop, whether that's new developments and other things come into town, is that we're trying to continually gauge how that affects the schools and our ability to keep up with those things. So we're trying to continually inundate ourselves with updated information so that we're making good decisions as we plan out 4 or 5, plus years out about what we need to do and when. And so we just appreciate you guys' forethought and consideration of some of these things. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So is anything we're doing tonight inhibit action later on this subject?
No.
Okay.
No, because we've already interjected into this that we can
Right.
work with it.
When you start receiving your funds, you will have to start to prioritize the projects. But that's going to come later.
Yeah, it's Matt, right?
Yeah.
So, the thing with that too, Gary and Matt, is if we're connected, which we're gonna work together because we have commitments for each other, when that growth comes, you'll know when it's coming. So the idea of being able to plan is to, like you said, build a big, we're gonna add a whole nother building here and it's set there versus you need more computers. You'll know when the growth is because we're gonna know, hey, we got these programs, these companies wanting to come in to build the houses here or build a new business, a new biomedical place here, then you have an idea and then a time frame, and then we can all work together so things don't sit empty or money is not used where it doesn't need it. It wouldn't be the most efficient use of the monies as they come in. So I think that's important too. So, for sure. Yeah.
And just for the record, so we've been talking, and we recently talked for some time, and so there is some interaction already there, and I suggested that they come tonight and make sure the whole group is involved in the conversation.
Fantastic. That was on both that was on both of these. Any other public comment or questions?
That may have been for the west. Did we do west side first?
That was the
Public comment on
west side,
west
but I
side.
think that was more generalized.
Okay.
Yeah. That was for everything. Okay. So can we go ahead? Does anybody want to speak on the riverfront development area? Questions, concerns, comments? And that's another thing, for those of you, I see some of your faces I see here over and over again, which is great. But anybody that comes, the idea, if you have ideas or thoughts, I mean, I sat out there and more than once, as a matter of fact, I'm sure they wished I stayed in my seat when I was there, but the idea, if something comes to you, or a thought, or something you think would be great, or something you need to be aware of, it can be very informal. Feel free to take the mic and throw ideas our way.
Well, does the board have any questions about the riverfront?
I've got a question about the riverfront.
Okay, Denise sure can answer.
How is it progressing? I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is, when's the blue building coming down and moving up to when's the utilities coming uphill to create more of a waterway?
Well, I can
Yeah.
answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that has anything to do with the riverfront, but we'll probably be moving up here in May, June, maybe even July, but we're kind of looking at the end of May. Once we're out of the building, there'll still be some remnants of the old way of doing things and parts and who knows what we're going to leave there. So it might be a year before we take the blue building down. Once we take the blue building down, that's to become, I mean, some of the buildings are staying there, Fall Festival, but the blue building up front and some of that will all come down and become a parking lot, and it'll be landscaped, probably be some bathrooms down there. It'll be part of the trail. And, but it'll probably be a year before it's gone. There is no project in that area for phase 2 of the flood remediation. We need money. After this year's budget, we'll see how much money we have, but we need to do another study, probably $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for the study. And it is spelled out what needs to be looked at, which is the McNeely Bridge and structures put in on the approach from the north to the bridge. And then that kind of money, you're talking anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 easy. And so we got to come up with that money. And so it really, I'm not sure that will come, that phase 2 will come, if that's what you're asking. Phase 2 will come anytime real soon. I mean, with all the dust in the air from up north, we're not sure what kind of monies there's going to be available. And so I'm just not
I guess
sure.
I was looking to see if that riverfront TIF district is going to carry on downstream.
It is not part of the TIF district.
Not at this point.
No.
Was that all I guess I'm getting my terminology wrong, but the remediation or from the waterfront area where we've had flooding and whatnot, was NDOT part of that? For some reason, I thought there was.
DNR.
Okay, I knew there was some other funding outside of.
Well, the funding came from the ARPA money that we received when they give everybody money. There's like, I think we got $1 million, 1.5 million, something like that from ARPA, and we spent almost all of it on flood mitigation. We did spend some on trails and the Stewart Park, but it was over $1 million for the flood mitigation.
And that's been a successful project?
Well, I
So far, I mean-
somebody might ask that, and this is hard to believe, but since we started that project, which will be this fall will be this, I can't even remember, second or third full year, second year. We had, since the day we broke ground, we have not had a large rain, which I call a 4-inch rain, and we've had one 3.3-inch rain since then. And the people that were from Crider's that was working on the project, just for perspective, we talked about how nice it would be if they could get at least halfway through the project before we had a big rain. Never rained. And then when we got at the end of it and they were putting down the seed and the matting, we talked about how nice it'd be if there'd not be any big rains over the winter. No rain. And so the next spring was like, man, if the grass could grow, that would really be great. No rain. So we haven't had any pressure put on us with a 4-inch rain, but the 3.3-inch rain was pretty good rain, and it ponded up really good. But I've got Carl, he's a canary in the coal mine for us.
Yeah.
And he's, downstream, it has affected how much the water rises. So it has helped, but I'm not going to call it successful until we have the big rain. Not looking for it, though. So anyway, that's the answer.
Any other comments on either of the districts? Anyone? Do we want to go ahead and approve pass the modifications, correct?
Resolutions? The amended resolutions?
Do we want to wait and hear from Baker Tilly?
Will Baker Tilly telling us about the tax impact, will that really make a difference on us establishing the geographic areas? Because I think we need to establish those regardless. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's a number in there with the tax implications that I'm not aware of that would tell us, say, no, let's not do either one of these, but I don't think it would.
It's the board's pleasure. I mean, that was just an option I thought you should be aware of, that you could wait to vote until you've heard from Baker Tilly, but you do not have to, no. If you're confident that these resolutions set forth what you want to do, you can go ahead and pass the resolutions, and then Mr. Schrader is available for the next meeting, and he can come and answer any questions about the mechanics of how this works at that meeting.
And his discussions with us is going to tell us a little bit more about what we can anticipate financially down the road to
correct.
start doing some of these projects. So, but I think regardless, at least I
It
don't.
doesn't change the boundary.
No, we still want the areas.
Right. If you've got set in your head that projects, the potential project list is fine, and that boundaries are fine, then yes, you could go ahead and vote on this evening.
And that next meeting that they would attend would be the one on March 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody have any reservations on going ahead and?
That cleared it up for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be great for us to know that and see how that's going to be impactful for what we can do in the future, but I don't know if it's going to change it. So with that in mind, I would go ahead and move to approve Resolution 2024-05 to modify and confirm the West Side Economic Development Area.
I'll second.
Carl Thurman,
Yeah.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Tom Corman,
Yes.
Dr. Hash.
Yes.
Motion passes.
With that in mind, I would like to move to approve the Resolution 2024-06 to modify and confirm the Riverfront Economic Development Area.
I'll second.
Carl Thurman,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Tom Corman,
Yes.
Dr. Hash.
Yes.
Motion passes. Before we move forward really quick, on the minutes, I had a motion to approve from Trevor and a motion to second from Tom Corman. I did not get a vote to approve, whether by aye or roll call, so we'll need to do that for the minutes.
Okay, then I move for a vote to approve.
We're all in favor?
Yeah. All in favor of Resolution 2024-05?
Oh, no, this is for the minutes.
Oh, for the minutes. I'm
For the
sorry.
minutes.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I didn't
Yeah,
wanna
was thinking,
interrupt-
I didn't think I missed anything
No,
on
it's
that.
okay. We just moved so quickly,
Yeah.
and then when I was writing things down, I realized that I didn't get an all in favor or a roll call vote for that.
The minutes. If we could reverse course a bit, and I would move to approve the minutes of the January 27th, 2025 meeting of the Ellettsville Redevelopment Commission.
So we need to do an all in favor or a roll call?
Just
Which
do a
would you-
roll call.
Yeah,
Roll call,
I'd
okay.
like the roll call.
Dr. Hash,
Yes.
Tom Corman,
Can I vote on this? I wasn't here that day.
did you read them?
What's that?
Did you read
I
them?
read them.
Do you approve of them?
I approve.
Okay. Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Carl Thurman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for catching that.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, signatures on that. It's from 219.
So I guess any other comment from No? Usually you have lots of comment. What's going on?
Slow down.
A little concerned. I'll bring you a Red Bull next time.
Don't do that.
I guess that, with that being said, unless there's any other comments from the floor, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting of the Ellettsville Redevelopment Commission for Monday, February 24, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you.